Hello, how y'all doing? Tracy's Kitchen and Appalachian Adventures. I'm going to talk to you today in this video why poor people need to revolt. We need to revolt, y'all. Revolt. Now, everybody exploits the poor people. Every tire of the economy, they exploit poor people. I'm out here in the real world. I know what they're doing. Every tire in the economy exploits poor people from the top to the bottom. And they particularly exploit poor blacks. And poor blacks, being stupid, allow themselves to be exploited. Now, how do you know, for example, China? China pays workers probably 1 cent an hour. Probably pays prisoners $0 an hour. Okay? And look, to manufacture all these stupid products we buy from China, from tools to earrings to guns, okay, they're paying people 5 cents an hour to manufacture that mess. Okay? Because what? People, human beings, we are too stupid to become millionaires. The Bible says we get wisdom, above all get understanding. The Bible said don't even accumulate things. Don't worship things. He said, what profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? What profit is you got a house full of furniture and you lose your own soul? And your children ain't got nothing. Your spouse ain't got nothing. Because all you buy is things. Poor people need, God said, to ask for wisdom. Wisdom about everything. Wisdom about social interactions. Wisdom, should you marry this fool or not marry that fool? Wisdom about economics. Wisdom about how to discipline your children. Poor people need wisdom above anything. The Bible says, above all get wisdom, and above all get understanding. What is worse? A millionaire that's stupid. And they are stupid. Why? Because just go on YouTube and look at those millionaire mansions. Those mansions owned by millionaires that are abandoned. Okay? Millionaires and they're stupid. Nike, for example, or any shoe manufacturer probably pays people $0.05 an hour. They sell those stupid tennis shoes to poor blacks, inner city blacks, for $200. That's like a 2,000% profit. And those stupid blacks get killed over those stupid tennis shoes. Not only do they buy them, but they get killed over the stupid tennis shoes. Chinese don't buy them. They don't want them. Koreans don't buy them. They don't want them. They just sell them to the stupid blacks. Okay? China doesn't want the guns. They don't even hardly allow guns in China, the general populace. But they selling stupid blacks all that cheap junk, clothing and jewelry and rugs, and blacks keep buying it. Poor people keep buying it. Now, let's talk about the mom and pop stores that are in the various black communities. They are usually owned by Koreans, Pakistanis, or Indians. Let's get real for a minute. I'm not being racist. I'm being real. Now, it used to be when I was growing up, they had mom and pop stores opened by blacks, run by blacks. There was 2 of them when I grew up. There were mom and pop stores opened and run by blacks. But now they're all opened by, run by either Indians, Pakistanis, Middle Easterns, general foreigners, okay? Now, they sell mainly to blacks. Then black people keep buying all that 30-day-old soda, 100-day-old ham, rotten vegetables. Okay, we keep keeping them rich. Every time we buy something, we make them richer, richer, richer. Every time we buy something. Okay, now let's look at the Vatican. Let's look at the Catholic Church. Do you really think those popes that they have had for the last 500 years, those stupid white men, know how to manage a dollar or whatever the currency was 500 years ago? No, they don't. So the only thing they could do to make some money for the Vatican is to exploit poor people, selling indulgences, selling the ticket out of hell. You give us some money, you get a ticket out of hell. Okay? And do you really think the Vatican, the way it's designed, do you really think the popes were smart enough to design that? No, it wasn't. It was just some poor person who designed it. And poor people who built it, and poor people who decorated it. All on the backs of poor people. If you look at the modern day super rich ministries, it's poor people giving them $30 a month. I know I'm in partnership. I get the partnership letters. It's poor people giving them $30 a month. If they say we need a new jet, they don't have sense enough to get the money from any investments that they have made. They're going to ask a million poor people. We're going to whine. They're going to whine till they get their new jet. And they're going to whine till they get their new digital equipment. They're going to whine until they get their new lawn equipment. There's always another project. And they're going to whine, and people are going to send them the money. Because they say, well, if you send us some money, God will give you 30, 60, 100-fold return. Believe God for the 30, 60, 100-fold return. So you being a stupid poor person will give them $100, and you waiting for God to send you a $10,000 check. And then when God doesn't send you a $10,000 check, you get mad. You get mad at God. If that's all you had to do to make it, is to give a $100 check to a ministry, why did God bother to say in Genesis, man will work by the sweat of his brow? Why did he ordain that? Why did he say in Proverbs, the hand of the diligent maketh rich? If you're hard working, you get up early in the morning and you hard working, you're going to get rich. Okay? So, look. Okay, what I heard a preacher say, and he's probably right, that Jesus talked about, and the scriptures talk about money just as much as they do salvation. That's probably true, but I don't know. But what did God really talk about? He talked about economics. He didn't talk about money. He didn't say give and get, give and get, give and get. He talked about economics. He said work by the sweat of your brow. He said the borrower is servant to the lender. You don't borrow for any reason. He said leave an inheritance to your next 3 generations. So that means you got to have something. Your spouse has to have something. Your children and your grandchildren should have something. They should have house, land. They should have land and riches and money. Okay? But see, look. So actually, the truth is, Jesus and God talked about economics just as much as they talked about salvation. Because the Lord knows we need money to live in this world. He talked about economics. He didn't say how to give and get. That's not what he said. That's narrow-minded. That's not what he said. Give and get. All you got to do is sit on your butt, write a check, give and get, give and get, give and get. That's not what he said. He talked about economics. Why are you living hound and hog when you don't have hound and hog money? You pretended that you have hound and hog money. You listen to the stupid preacher telling you to go buy a Hummer, and all you do is taking one step at a time into bankruptcy. Because you listen to that stupid preacher telling you to go buy a Hummer. But see, the preacher knows if he tells you to work hard and be diligent, manage your money, watch every penny, you're not going to give any money to him. That does not bring money in. A fantasy brings money in, and they all know that. You got to sell people a fantasy. Give and get, give and get. Give us $100, God will give you $10,000. That is a fantasy. You got to sell a fantasy. If these preachers want the super money, you got to sell the poor people, because it's mainly poor people listen to them. Because they know rich people listen to them, to tell the truth. You got to sell these poor people a fantasy. Give and get, give and get, give and get. Ad infinitum. They don't tell us to go possess the land. They don't tell us to go buy real estate. They don't tell us to live cheap. Because that's not going to sell money. They don't tell us to save money for ourselves and our children. So that's what, you know what you see a lot? You see a whole lot of Christians, they are bankrupt, and the cotton picking children are bankrupt. Because they did not teach their children about money. They did not teach their children how to save money. They did not teach their children how to buy property. So you see a lot of ministries are bankrupt. The parents are bankrupt and the children are bankrupt. I see it. I know what's out here. I can name names, but I don't. Okay, the truth is, just about every tire of the economy lives off of poor people. When you see these billionaires, do you think even in the White House, do you really think they're smart enough to make a dollar? No. These billionaires who are in construction, they use cheap foreign labor to build their golf courses, to build their resorts, to build their towers, etc. They use cheap labor to do it because they don't have sense enough to pay people a half-decent wage. That goes against biblical principles because the Bible says the labor is worthy of his hire. You're supposed to pay people a decent wage to build property. You're not supposed to exploit them. When you see these billionaires, all you see is a bunch of men who know how to exploit other people. They know how to exploit poor people, poor foreigners in particular, poor undocumented immigrants in particular. That's really what you see. Poor people need to stop allowing themselves to be exploited. We need to stop buying all this nasty food from these mom and pop stores, making them rich. You know, look, right now there's a Korean store that sells all kinds of hair products. And it just opened a few months ago. And as is the custom for stupid black women, they're going to buy all that junk. All those strange chemicals to put in their hair. All those hair weaves from India. They still buy, they crowded, buying that junk. And they're making the Koreans rich. They're not making themselves rich, putting all that junk in their hair. All nice and bald-headed too. They're making the Koreans rich. Black people and poor people in particular need to revolt against this and stop allowing themselves to be exploited. Because you have to cooperate in order to be exploited. You have to cooperate with people in order to be exploited. Okay, you have to buy all this junk in order to be exploited. Why are you buying all this cheap junk from China? Why are you buying all that junk from these Korean stores? Why are you buying that nasty food from the mom and pop stores? You know that food is nasty. 100-year-old hams. You know that food is nasty. Now you take like all these mom and pop stores that are owned by Koreans. I'm not being racist, y'all. All these mom and pop stores that are owned by Koreans, Pakistani, and India. Now I may not buy food there, but I go in the store with other people who are buying cigarettes and candy or whatever. Okay? And they treat blacks with so much disdain and disrespect. And they don't hire blacks either. Okay? And blacks just go in there and buy all that nasty food, all that sweet junk. But they do not hire blacks, aren't ever going to hire blacks. And blacks are just making them richer and richer. But they treat blacks with the most disdain and the most disrespect. Okay? Now you take like the dry cleaners that are owned by Koreans, usually, they don't hire blacks. Now what they do is hire Mexicans, Central Americans, because they don't have to pay, they just pay them in cash. They don't have to pay all this FICA taxes, Social Security tax, state tax, and so on. Just pay the Mexican cash, send them on their way. So what the Koreans have done, they've gotten rid of, they may have had one or two black workers. They've gotten rid of them, and they've hired Central Americans in their place. And the same, they may have gotten rid of the white employees too. And they hire Mexicans, illegals in their place. And black people make them richer and richer. Why? Because black people go in there and put all their dry cleaning in there. Okay, and make them richer. Instead of washing some of that in Woolite. We can get the same result if we wash the clothes in Woolite. But we need to stop making people rich. We need to revolt. Poor people need to revolt against all this exploitation. You have to cooperate to be exploited. You take like a lot of celebrities that they appear to make super money, but they don't. Well, they do make super money. I take that back, but they don't even know how to manage it. I read the headlines Because celebrities think $1 equals $10,000. It doesn't. $1 equals 4 quarters. A lot of broke celebrities don't understand it. I can name names who are the broke celebrities. They made more money than you and I will see in a lifetime. But they broke. I can name names, but I don't. Poor people, we need to get our own economy. We need to buy land, take charge of our own economy, grow some vegetables, grow your own food. Stop making these other people rich. Stop, instead of spending money at that mom and pop store in your neighborhood with all this nasty food anyway, take that $20 and put it in the bank for your children. Take that $20, put part of that money in your own individual retirement account. If you don't do that, you're going to be the poorest of the poor in the next few years. If blacks don't start saving for themselves and their children and buying property, we're going to be the poorest of the poor in the next 10 to 20 years. And we need to take charge of our own economy. Stop allowing other people to exploit us. Stop this exploitation. Revolt.